All right, hello everybody. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026, the Kaʻū Community Development Plan. Well, before we come to order, so I wanted to have a moment of silence to recognize the passing of our former Action Committee member, Kaʻū, and Jesse K. Believe today, you wanna say some?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge one of our previous CDP members, Kaʻū Jessica, passed away about 2 months ago. She did a lot for the community. She worked for the DOE. She was a member of this council for 2 years, I think. But she was one of the main reasons I joined there. And she always offered the pule for us and kept the meetings on the go. So just wanted to acknowledge that the community lost someone really special and offer my condolences to our family. Yeah, thank you.
So I'm very fortunate. I think we're all fortunate as a community, also to have her both in our lives, certainly on the Action Committee, and as a member of our community. So if we could have a moment of silence in respect for her. All right, and I think one thing I certainly missed is Joe helped to open our Action Committee meetings with the pule, so I will not do that in her absence, but I think if we could all just acknowledge the peace and togetherness that she tried to instill on all of us, I think that helps us become a stronger community. All right, so like I said, I'm the chair, Jason Masters, the Kaʻū Community Development Plan Action Committee, going to come to order. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, and it's 5:12 p.m. This meeting is being held in person and interactive conference technology. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Planning Department's YouTube channel. A sunshine law reminder for remote members. Please keep your camera on. Also, please state for the record where you're participating from and whether anyone in the room was with you, except for mine. And we will now have a roll call.
Here.
Babette Morrow.
Here, coming from Denver, Colorado.
Thank you, Babette. David Kuhidamui.
Yeah.
Taylor Spurgeon. I know he's on a plane at the moment and is unable to attend. Captain Williams.
Here.
Kaveni Ibarra.
Here.
Uncle Gary Davis.
Here.
And I am Chair Jason Masters. We have a forum to hold this meeting. With us, we have Planning Department staff, Abella Khalili, Marion Palmer.
Hello.
And just joined us, yeah, the Corporation Council. Yeah, sorry. From Corporation Council, Dean Campbell, thank you for joining us this evening. All right, moving forward, please ensure that your cell phones are off or silent. If you are here in person and wish to testify, please complete the sign-up form, which is available at the table and provided to staff. If you're joining via Zoom and wish to testify, please use the raise hand feature or send a message in the chat to the Zoom host indicating that the agenda item on which you wish to speak. We ask that all speakers clearly state their name for the record before beginning their testimony. For those attending in person, please direct your comments for the owl, the camera microphone, so participants on Zoom can hear you clearly. And I would ask that Babette or others on Zoom, if you cannot hear us, please feel free to let us know. Aloha etiquette for today's meeting. As a reminder, we strive to conduct our meetings in the spirit of aloha. Maintain an open and positive attitude, listen to understand, respect that everyone has the right to share their ideas, feel comfortable doing so. It is acceptable to disagree, but please do so respectfully. Focus on the issues, not the individual. One person speaks at a time, please no side conversations. Minimize distractions again by silencing cell phones, refraining from outside work during the meeting. In consideration of everyone's time, please adhere to established time limit. Time is now 5:16 p.m. The committee will consider approving the draft minutes from the May 2026 meeting. Are there any corrections? Okay.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or corrections at this time? I did not know. That?
Nope.
No, okay, well, we will. Seeing no corrections, all those in favor of the minutes as provided, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, seeing no opposed, so motion carries. Moving forward to public testimony on agenda items. The time is now 5:17 p.m. We will now take public testimony on items that are on today's agenda. As noted on the agenda, please. Members of the public may testify now or when a specific agenda item is called to order. Testimony may be limited to 3 minutes per agenda item. Please keep comments to matters within the committee's scope related to the item you are addressing. If there is anyone here who would like to testify, again, please fill out the testimony form on the page from the front table and provide it to our planning staff. Do we have any testifiers at this time? Yeah, or you can wait, I don't know which item it's for. Would you like to testify now or at the time the agenda item?
Yeah,
You'll compare.
at the time.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so we will see you at the time of that agenda. So moving forward, a public meeting decorum guidance by Dean Campbell, the Office of the Corporation Council regarding communication 2026-13. County Council Number 2026-3, general guidance regarding unruly or disruptive conduct during public meetings. Jean, would you like to? Oh, right.
There you go. So good evening, everybody. I'm Jean Campbell, the Deputy Corporation Counsel at the County of Hawaii, assigned to support all of our action committees. I think the introduction that our chair read is, probably really the best guidance about how both the meeting should be conducted by the committee members and also by our members of the public, with a spirit of aloha, here to listen to one another. We all will have different viewpoints about things, and we have as many viewpoints as we have human beings in the room, and we probably do disagree with one another. And so long as we can manage to keep those disagreements focused on the issues and not become personal attacks on one another or personal attacks on someone who's not even in the room. I hate the mayor, for example. Not a true statement, but you get the idea. We want to make sure that the discussions that happen in front of the committee are things that are on the agenda for starters. And then we would like to have the committee, through the chair, able to work closely with the public to both get information, because one of their key roles and the great value that these committees provide to the county is to be our earpiece and our communication with the communities that they're in. And so their ability to listen to you and hear you is really important. And so that means that not only are they listening, but you're listening as well. I guess I wasn't sure whether there was anything in particular that the committee wanted to have me address, or if you have particular questions.
So one thing it says is no member of the council, board, commission, or staff should physically interact or attempt to physically remove a disruptive individual. So if the chair's effort to de-escalate the situation and restore order are unsuccessful, the chair should recess the meeting and immediately contact the Hawaii Police Department.
Okay.
So I hope we never have to go through that.
Okay, I guess, I think this group has not had instances like this. Other boards and commissions with the county have had, you know, more aggressive meetings at times. So generally, the advice is, you know, for everybody, for the chair, say we have a member of the public who's becoming unruly and aggressive of some sort. The chair the first step is do your best to de-escalate, ask the person to stay on topic, ask the person to refrain from, you know, personal attacks, whatever it is that they're doing that's becoming unreasonable or inappropriate. If they refuse to comply, then yeah, the next step is generally to just simply call a recess. And sometimes, you know, just stopping the meeting with everybody just staying in place is sufficient to get somebody to kind of, you know, take a minute to breathe and calm down. If that is insufficient, the committee members can leave the room. That would be the next step is, you know, we're in recess, so we're all gonna get up and walk away. And oftentimes, you know, when somebody is becoming aggressive or whatever, it's generally because they want to make sure that they're heard. And if the people who are supposed to be hearing them are no longer here, you've walked into, you know, outside the room, whatever your space is, that would be appropriate. Oftentimes that will be enough to get them to, you know, kind of take a pause and be able to walk away. If all of those kind of things don't work, then yeah, the last thing is do not step in and try and physically remove somebody from the room. That is never a good idea. It would simply be leave the meeting in recess, and if things really are that problematic, then you just call the police and say, hey, we're having this issue, and you know, and we'd like to have your assistance. The other thing that you can do is just end the meeting. If, you know, it may be, and that would be within the discretion of the body to decide, is continuing the meeting with, you know, with whatever the problem person is removed so important that we really need to do that? Or are we at a point that we can just say, you know what, tonight's not working. We're just gonna end the meeting, and that's that, we're all gonna go home. So it's, you know, it can depend on what's on your agenda. It could depend on, you know, lots of things. It's going to be something that a call that you would make in the moment. And again, hopefully you never have to make that call. And again, I'm sure that it goes without saying that the same applies to you guys. So the spirit of aloha, you know, is as much from you guys, and oftentimes really more important from you guys to make sure that, you know, if somebody is getting in your face and whatnot, don't give it back. You know, it's where you guys are professionals and you're here representing the county. And so just like we do ask the public to be on their best behavior, the same goes with the committee members and all of our boards and commissions and our county council and everybody else. When you are representing the county, we expect everybody to be professionals. And you know, and it makes listening a lot easier. So.
I have a question, Dan. We had a meeting, you guys probably remember, I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago. And a lot of people, there was maybe like 50+ people showed up and thought we were the planning commission. So we were collecting testimony in the beginning. But everybody was, you know, really upset because they thought we were in charge of approving stuff, like we were the planning commission. But in that situation, are we allowed to interject in between testimony and clarify that we're not, or, because I wasn't too sure about how that works with sunshine law or with our Robert's rules and stuff.
Right. I remember that one. I think I was at that one with you as well. And it's not unusual when any of our action committees are handling really hot topic things you know, the public doesn't understand the county processes and whatnot the way that you do or I do. And so I think it is helpful. That said, people want to make sure that they're heard. And so as I mentioned earlier, one of the most important roles for our action committees is to be our eyes and ears and our communication gateway with the community. And so even if people are standing up saying, hey, you guys, please don't approve this thing, and that's not actually something that you can do. As I remember correctly, I think this body was simply trying to determine whether or not you wanted to submit testimony on behalf of the body to the actual decision makers. And I do recall that there was a lot of request and testimony from the community saying, you guys don't approve the thing. And it's helpful, I think, to clarify the process so everybody knows that the arena that they're in. And that said, you know, people show up late, especially when you have those really big meetings. So it means that you want to say more than once. And again, your role is to just put that information out there and then let people testify.
Thank you.
I had a question, in our format, it talks about, testimony is limited to 3 minutes per agenda item. Who's keeping track of the time? Is that our job, or is that?
Typically so that's not a hard and fast rule. It's not a law. It's generally a guideline that most of our boards and commissions follow. It is at the discretion of the body, generally through the chair. If you're having an informal meeting where you don't have, you know, a hot agenda with 50 people who want to testify, and now 3 minutes is a really long time. You know, if you have a small agenda, there's no reason that if you want to, you can't say, you're welcome to talk for 5 minutes, or, you know, let somebody really get through all of their testimony. So it is up to you to decide what that time period is. And typically, I believe it's the staff that keeps track.
Try.
Or try to at least. Yes. Yes, and it's up to you to decide whether you say, hey, you know, oftentimes what you see is, since we're not having much of any public testimony at all, I don't expect that, you know, this will be an issue tonight, but frequently what happens is the staff will start a timer and then let people know when they have 30 seconds left so they can wrap up their ideas. And then, you know, it'll go beep, 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 and everybody, you know, we know. And then at that point, it's up to the chair to determine whether it's okay to let someone keep talking or say, thanks for your testimony. That's the end of your 3 minutes. We'd like to move on for efficiency's sake or whatever.
All right, any other questions or comments or anything for Jean? Babette? No? All right, well, thank you, Jean, for driving all the way out here. We
Oh, sure thing.
appreciate you present.
Sure thing. I do know that you have quite a number of PONC related matters on your agenda. I also advise PONC, so if I'll stick around this evening, and if there's questions or resources that I can be helpful for, I'll stick around for that as well.
Oh, okay. All right, so moving forward, the Holy County Department of Public Works has installed new traffic signage on South Point Road to improve roadway safety, including a stop sign at the three-way intersection, approaching the three-way intersection on South Point Road and Kaʻū Road, as well as 2 yield signs for vehicles approaching the one-way sections of South Point Road. Do you have the photos to provide?
Do it.
Oh.
Should be me.
Yeah, so there's the yield signs, as you can see with the road crosses like, well, they're not cattle guards anymore, but where it becomes narrower, and then there's the new stop sign at the three-way intersection. To the right going towards Alana and Green Sand to well, yeah, the second one. All right, yeah, good job, David, thank you, Kobe, Public Works, we appreciate that, I think we got that accomplished pretty timely, good work with the girl. Yeah, thank you, staff also.
The staff is the lead on the staff is the lead on the girls get all from people.
Yeah.
Very much appreciate.
So, thank you, David, for bringing this up, I think it's, especially for visitors that might not be familiar, with the road, I think it's, important traffic safety.
Right, traffic safety.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, just for I just want to congratulate you guys. Like, it kind of sounds like it's a little thing. We got 3 signs going on, but this was brought up, I think, at the previous meeting and it's already up. So in general, that's like a pretty amazing accomplishment for everybody to work together and make that happen, you know? So high five, everybody. Good job.
But you guys working so hard. Right,
And again, David, thank you for bringing it to our attention, so that, something that, was on the radar, I know when we spoke with the Department of Public Works, I don't think it's on the public safety, yeah, so thank you. All right, so moving forward, I will provide an update on Bill 147 regarding, well, it seems like it's gone through several different name changes, but it's related to transit accommodation rentals, which I believe how it started out, also known as short-term vacation rentals, I think they go through a few other names, bed and breakfast, they really fall under this category, so last year, the county initiated a process to review, and amend the existing laws regarding vacation rentals. So recently, so we've been discussing about it, something we wanted to discuss, but I think we had higher priorities at the time. The Kaʻū Community Development Plan Action Committee had discussed it. So I recently received unanimous favorable recommendations from both the Newark and Woodward Planning Commissions. And go to the county council, I believe next Wednesday, August 5th, to the full council. So if you have any comments on that, I know I spoke with several people from Ocean in the past couple of weeks that would either be impacted or have neighbors or friends that would be impacted. I would recommend providing testimony. I know some of the concern is that, such as an ocean view, that it might be in a zone that doesn't allow as a permitted use, so they might require a use permit. I think these are questions that, as residents, we should ask directly of our council people. And if you have any clarification, if you need further clarification, you could ask me after the meeting. So, but to get back to it, so he creates a 4-month grace period to register TDR. Again, the transit vacation rental that has been moved to September 1st. They're considering allowing it until the end of the year without a penalty. So after the registration deadline, there will be fines, so if you are currently operating a short-term vacation rental or bed and breakfast, whether it's hosted or unhosted, the county will be pursuing numerous measures to fine people. So, so obviously we want to try to avoid that. If you need any additional information or updates, including the county's, our website, but also the PDR website, it's www.hawaiicountypar.com. So, all right, with that, moving forward, I think those are all the announcements. Time is now 5:34 p.m. We now move on to committee business, non-action item number 1, ingress and egress agreement to Mark Twain subdivision regarding Kaʻū CDP policy 118, section 5.7.2. We will hear a report from committee members Morrow via Zoom and Captain Williams here in person regarding the status of a letter from the Hawaii Fire Department, the Green Sands and Mark Twain subdivision's property owners, and requesting permission for emergency access. Catherine, with that?
So, aloha, everybody. Member Morrow and myself are the committee, for this, letter to go out. And we have met recently. Member Morrow was the person who wrote the actual draft letter, which has been completed, and it's basically, stating what has happened up to now. And it is being addressed to the residents who own the properties that are affected by this access. At this point, I did speak with Captain Durkin of the Pahala Fire Department. He was willing to take a look at the letter, but he wanted us to complete the draft and actually email it to the interim chief Volpe. Interim chief Volpe is interim right now for chief of police, and the actual chief of police will not be decided until next month. More than likely, he was deputy chief, so more than likely he will continue in that role, but we don't know yet. We won't know until next month. Member Morrow and myself have agreed, she will be back on island on Friday, so we are going to meet in person sometime next week and finish the draft. The draft isn't much more than it was before. We want to create it more into addressing the actual people, because right now it's just sort of a history of what's happened. So we will make it a little more personable, and then it will be forwarded to Chief Volpe's office. And we will have to wait and see. What Captain Durkin did tell me was that it is not just the fire department that's involved when there is some kind of emergency, because they would not be the people that would be manning that access point. It would be HPD, or it would have some other agency that was in charge of that emergency. So there will be more people than just the fire department involved in the actual development of this. So we're not sure. It's hard for us as community members to know what the next step is and what the next. So we're just baby stepping this along, so it may take some time. It's going to take longer than the stop sign, I'm almost sure. But just for an update, the initial draft is almost ready for submission to the fire department. Any questions?
Well, if I could jump in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for giving that report. I just wanted to add that at this stage, what we are trying to do is work with the fire department, the appropriate person in the fire department, so that the fire department is the one who contacts the property owners who may or may not be the parties to dedicating an easement to allow for traffic to get between the subdivisions in case of an emergency, which is the ultimate goal. So we don't have anything to go to the whole community yet, because we want to make sure that these people who we think might allow access or might allow an easement are going to be on board with that. And if they're not, well, then we have to start all over again and try something different. So we did want to make sure that everybody knows that we're still working on it. We haven't forgotten. We're just working our way up through the chain of command. And we do have a letter drafted that we will be able to provide to the fire department for them to be able to contact the appropriate property owners.
Thank you, Member Morrow.
When the draft is completed, will you be ready back to the next meeting? You have to read that?
No, I think everybody has a copy of the information that's included in the draft. It was part of the packet last time. So we're just gonna put it into a letter format and then forward it to the chief of the fire chief. His office, basically.
So normally we would all review it, and then, have a motion and vote on it, and then I can sign it, and it's good.
Okay, well, we can wait then.
So, yeah, I mean, I think if it's coming from the community, it should be,
Do you want to, maybe we just forward it to you and I can take a look at?
we have a Gene Campbell.
Oh, yeah, it's fire drafting the letter. They're gonna take our letter.
Yeah.
They're gonna use
But
that
I
as a
think it's
template.
Right, yes.
So nice, I lost you.
So I think we need to get this moving forward, but so I guess the question is, does it need to come back to the community for a motion and approval?
It's my I haven't been tracking this all that closely, but it's my understanding that the draft is intended to be a letter from the fire department to the property owners. If that's the case, then it would simply go to fire as a draft and would not require signature by you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, is there any further discussion or questions at this time?
Man, I don't know about that. It's a good idea, what you guys do is give them around now. But I think so that community now has to get at least some kids up for what's going on. So what I got that, before we do start doing everything else, because if you go to the fire department and everything else, and community now, they say, oh, we're not going to move on. Place can how we do. Yeah, we go to court.
Yeah, well, no, I think you're.
Yeah, that's an easy way for us to get out of this.
Yeah, no, I think that's a certainly valid concern. I've spoken with Jody Rosum, I know she's the chairperson now for Paul, but she lives in the community. I gave her a copy of the agenda, I asked that she would help distribute it to anybody in the community that would be interested. I think most importantly, obviously, are the property owners that would be directly affected on both sides, Green Center subdivision and Mark Twain. I don't know if, do they generally provide like a radius map notification for action committee items or? So.
No, just one of my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think beyond that, I certainly agree that we want to make sure that both communities are on board.
Yes.
I got something. Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. To have another way out, in case there is a fire down there. But right now it's one way in, one way out, for the sheep and solution. But I think there's a lot of work to do. That one bottom road in Markland subdivision is pretty trash. Oh, and that's the one that's gonna come across the green sand if all this comes together. Oh, and what else? Is green sand subdivision county roads? Does anyone know?
Certainly call all of them.
Yeah, call along, but
Yeah.
Not the thought they do.
not the.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why it's something, so believe road or private,
Yeah,
all of those.
so I'm not sure about Mark Twain might be private too, or whatever. So that's, oh, she's really rough, but this is just a starting point of this whole thing.
And
You
just so you know, the fire department has concerns about the roads that are
yeah,
in green sands because of their condition. They are not loved out. And it's very hard for the fire department to get in, to get water in. So there's concerns, but I think we can't put the cart before the horse and tell the community before the actual property owners give consent. And once they do, then we would absolutely let the community know. But we can't, we want to do this in the right way and it needs to go through the fire department. So we'll let them tell us. Thank you.
Alright, any other questions, comments, concerns, anyone from the public? Alright, well, with that, yeah,
How many property owners are we talking about?
so there's one on each side, specifically, so one on the Green Sand subdivision side, one on the Mark Twain. I believe, my understanding, it's been a few decades, but there's kind of an existing road that connects the two. And so it's, I know it's certainly gated on one side, and I believe it's gated and locked on the other. I think the other thing is might go through a pasture, and I'm not sure who owns that, so there's a few moving parts that we need to make sure all align and. But if we can, I think as Kathy just mentioned, start with the, you know, the property owners on both ends, and there's not really anything to move forward, but. Alright, is any further discussion? I don't think we have a motion for this at this time, so. We're going to move forward, alright. So, information on County of Hawaii acquisition of Kaʻū Beach Park through Public Access, Open Space and Natural Resource Prevention Commission or PALC. Information will present, I will provide an informational presentation regarding the county acquisition. Currently undertaking of the 6.62 acres. So the time is now 5:47 PM. Is there anyone that wishes to testify before I give my presentation on business item number 2? All right, yes,
Is that what's happening?
I'm sorry.
Is that what's happening with the beach park? Is it being acquired?
Yeah, so that's the presentation. So is there any testifiers before I begin? Public, no? Alright, so to go back, I don't know if this is the beginning, but I think it's regarding the house process, so in 2007, this then council member Bob Jacobson, so it had been it was sent to the priority list, it was approved by the county council, but there wasn't a willing seller. So it sat there for 19 plus years. Obviously, it's currently owned by Black Sand LLC. It's who's the property owner who leases the land for the Kaʻū Beach Park. So they completed the required review process. The proposed purchase is now being negotiated between the landowners and the mayor's office. And so since these negotiations are ongoing, we don't have the new developments that I was hoping to report to. But we don't have any of those developments at this time. So the planning staff and certainly our action committee will continue to monitor the progress. And provide updates as additional information becomes available. But again, at this point, it is in negotiation with the mayor's office. Yes.
If the money is coming from one, just
So maybe come, so maybe come up and.
Up to the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have here.
Okay.
Something up to the hall, right? You can come to the hall after you. I'll get it in.
Yeah, and please say your name for the record.
Jane Colby. Office purchasing. Or potentially purchasing that has been finalized. What is going to be, is it enough for that is pretty much all the facility on and keep as it has been pushed and the rules for the company.
Yeah, we done with this question, so.
I don't.
Yeah, so the way we recently had an informational grant review process meeting with Home. And so my understanding is that the way it works is if there's an existing steward, such as the Nature Conservancy, which we'll hear from later today, about a separate parcel. Then the home acquisition generally supports their continued stewardship. If there is an existing steward, or such as in this case, it's a county, then the acquisition would result in the county acquiring and then stewarding the property.
Thanks.
County. So it would become a county, but it's kind of a county park, it would be a county park owned by the county and maintained by the county.
So. Does it say? That the county would take it over?
Well, the county will take it over if you come to an agreement.
Not only the facilitator, but also as the owner.
Yeah, so that would be part of the process, so the county, so assuming, which, you know, I don't like to assume anything, but they're negotiating between the landowners and the mayor's office. So if they can agree, you know, my understanding is they already completed the appraisal process, so it has to be based on a fair market number. And so if they're able to reach an agreement between the property owner and the mayor's office, then my understanding is the finance department would give them the money and the county would accept the land and county parks or whoever currently maintains their other county park would continue to maintain that. County, correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would be correct. Should be, it would be county owned and maintained. Yeah. Should be county owned. So if you wanna come forward. Yeah,
Are you big dog?
well, it's not mine. Yeah.
I would introduce myself.
Yeah, just say your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Kailani Hizla. And so. We are research and we can bring plan the last 5 to 7 years. 3 years ago. God spoke to me and we can talk about life, we can talk about what. But I've been around to start talking about coffee. He told me I have a double portion of coffee. Now, I don't know how many minutes I do genealogy. I recently went into genealogy. And basically what I found. My top one was reference. Your top one. Your top one. One of my agents from the mountains of Women. Gave one. In COVID. It's not a. My grandfather's father. She's all my God, is my question, which brings us here today. How do we the land and priest? To the sacred lands. So I came here. I need to speak. That do not understand as you have. And then I went back to the law. My shackles went from talking to the law. Because they had to fight. Not fight, they had to fight and preserve what was left for our people. So I went here and I was not only politics happened. On my mother's side, my grandparents lived in Colombia. No one. And that was all good. She hands on hands and hands. So when I come here, I put that to where I belong. And I went around the island, but that's how I went around the island, I don't deserve. I went to Whitehall, I went to Fort Park, I went to Kaʻū. Do you know what Oahu is like? The land of the peace. Our ancient chaos was done over, people walking through, kids throwing rocks on it. No, really? Because I'm heard this is the land of the peace. Who are you? And I'm coming here to tell you guys, God said this is the land of peace. And I already went up to them and I gave it up. And I didn't know how to do it. God showed me how to do it. Yeah, and we just went, and we just answered the call. Because we just inquired about. Do not take this place that way. It's already starting. I like it's really that five environment beautiful. You even know what you have, then I went today. And you can't even know. So it's starting. And all I want to say is appreciate what you have, do not sell. You follow the gatekeepers and the next generation and the next generation. And America doesn't think about the next generation. They're using what we have for today for money and power. The next generation is gonna die of poisoning, poison water, filthy food, not even good food. And for me and my family, we farm that in London. We don't have land, but we borrow land. And whatever land we have, we put food back on land. And this is how we got it, because it's not about the next generation, and maybe people third. What is that for the people? And I ask you guys to not turn talking. This is not for attraction. This is for your families. This is for your well. It's for the generation to come. Over and over. Precious. Money cannot buy this. Peace. You're living alone. So crazy.
Thank you so much.
But I have something.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned.
Again, please state your names to the record.
Right, my name is Amber Lake. And I'll put some clothes, whatever it is. And I'm curious, so if the call of fire in this land, I mean, the county is responsible for creating food. But we just went over how far did the city of three signs put in through the county for safety measures, so then we have to come to these meetings to get like all the buildings fixed and like all of that through. And then the fine ones of the debt, we're gonna have to go through the county to get these things clear up.
Yeah, so, well, are you?
I'm not, yeah, so if pump the fires pull the loop, then it's the county's responsibility, which means it's government owned. Right? So whose responsibility then is it to actually clean out that pond and fix the buildings and structures?
Yeah, so I think that's a separate part, so my other. From my, do we have the map?
It's just pavilion,
Yeah.
with pavilions. The part that county maintains right now, yeah, no, just do that.
Yeah, so it's 6.62 acres or whatever, so it's not, it's not the 400 acres.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's.
Upper parking lot, right.
So
It's so messy.
Yeah.
All of it used to be here.
Yeah, it wouldn't include where the whole restaurant, and cultural center and the whole, well, ponds. There, the pond, you know, and the boat ramp, that's it, so, so
It's
it's,
you shop on there, all that area.
yeah, so it's.
So the county was talking about minimal.
That's different.
So what they're taking care of now, they continue to take care of, but they would have ownership over it. So the concern, and again, going back to 2007, and I can't recall the name of the corporation back then. The 20, anyways, so they. Throughout my life, there's been a lot of efforts to actually develop up to the high water. So the original Sea Brewer, the golf course was supposed to go on the rocks up to the high water. So not on the beach, but further past the pavilions, the golf course was gonna be all the way to the ocean. So part of the effort is to ensure that one, we retain access, which, you know, I think the current property owner has worked with the county doing. And two, that there's not gonna be proposals for any kind of development. So the pavilions that are there, I mean, eventually, maybe they need to be, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, they're old.
Big safe.
I mean, I think they've been there my whole life, so eventually maybe they, you know, need to be upgraded, but the idea is that the parking lot.
Done, we're gonna have to go through this kind of.
That would be a separate process, so the pumpkin is simply about acquisition, right? So once the county owns something, if they decided, oh, we wanna redo all the pavilions. Well, assuming it's just a normal pavilion, they could probably just have the county council, hopefully they would have public meetings about it. But have the county council allocate the funding to upgrade the existing pavilions. Now, if they're gonna do something different, then, you know, so like down in Middle East, what they're doing with Old Hollywood was, and it's part of a bigger ADA process and a lot more involved. Then we would wanna have public meetings to make sure that everybody's aware of what's being proposed and that the funding, where the funding is coming from and how it's being allocated is transparent and, Let's say so. But yeah, so again, going back to the pond, this, right now, this doesn't happen now.
And right now, nothing can be actually.
The idea is nothing to change at the pavilion
Just
parking lot, right? Unless it's
Then we have to look at this. Yeah.
the normal kind of person. Alright, so are there any other testifiers at this time? Alright, seeing none, do we wanna have is there any motion for action at this time regarding the public procedure?
Oh, right now, we're
Yes,
not gonna-
yes.
I'm asking them to
Hello?
run.
Hello? I've been waiting to get on.
Oh, I think I hear,
Guy
Oh.
Enriquez. This is Guy Enriquez.
okay, fine, thought I heard, okay. Yes,
Guy Enriquez speaking. I just want to remind this CDP committee that in March and April of 2024, the people of Kaʻū went to Hilo to stand before the Hawaii Planning Committee in rarely unseen numbers to voice overwhelmingly against the application for development by Black Sand Beach LLC. Their voices caused the developer to withdraw their application. During that time, there was no voice from the Kaʻū CDP then. Today, what is staring us in the face is the loss, or I prefer the taking of the county beach park by Black Sand Beach LLC for the purpose of building more paid parking to support this failing development. Black Sand Beach LLC will install a nonprofit puppet organization they can control and make deals with key people they have leverage over to achieve the goal to privatize and develop all of Punalu'u. Have you seen the Kona Coast lately? They have turned bare lava land into resorts, oases, one after another. Stated clearly in the Kaʻū CDP, although economic issues rank number one, the people of Kaʻū are not willing to sacrifice what we have and how we live for the sake of economy, and can be militant on this issue. I believe we live in Kaʻū for what is, and not what a developer driven by the dollar sign wants to make it. If this developer truly cares about the people of Kaʻū, why is she not extending the $1 a year lease, but instead asks the county to pay $150,000 per year and pay retroactive payment for the past 5 years she owned the property? Black Sand Beach is driven by the dollar sign and has been poor stewards of the place in the last 6 years. Just look around. In 6 years, the place is still a mess. There's no fire hydrants fixed. The golf course is gone. And I can go on and on about the water issue because I live there. Members of the CDP, you had no voice during the hearing 2 years ago. You have a chance now to voice and save our county beach park. and speak up for the voices that came before. If you're going to have conversations with Black Sand Beach LLC, don't talk about the anonymous survey just taken. Talk about how we can keep the county beach park in the hands of the county for the people of Kaʻū. The Kaʻū News has written a good article that asks vital questions regarding the county beach park. These are the questions that these CDP should be asking and getting answers to. The developers divided this community far too long, and it needs to stop. Stop. You have the opportunity to speak where our voices were not heard since 2024. And I believe if we don't, the people will rise again and create more of this. You have heard them, and even in the survey, it speaks the same stuff. Yet this developer keeps driving us a wedge for her own purpose. So please, speak for the people. Follow the Kaʻū CDP. There are policies in there that do not match. And if you need to, I will point them out to you. So I thank you for your service because I know it's voluntary, but now's your time to voice. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I just want to state for the record that we certainly discussed the proposed Kaʻū development at many meetings, and we were discussing this tonight about procedurally how we should carry ourselves when there is such a large amount of people showing up at a meeting. And that meeting was specifically about the proposed development. So, and then we did draft a letter, identifying where the proposed development did or did not comply with the Kaʻū community development plan. And so, it was very contentious. It wasn't easy. We didn't necessarily all get along, or rather share the same, it took us a while to create something. But eventually we did produce the document, and it was forwarded to the planning commission on behalf of our action committee. And, we did provide the opportunity for members of the public, I think both here and at the Kaʻū High School gym, to provide testimony regarding to the weekend. So, I think again, the item that I just presented is specifically, and they had the map up there a minute ago. So it shows, from the end of the driveway, it goes essentially onto the beach. So that portion of the black sand, all the way past the pavilions and out to the point or beyond that, is what's being proposed for acquisition. So at our next item, we're going to talk about our effort to have plans for movement. So this item was simply about the pump acquisition. So does anybody have any further questions or comments regarding the pump acquisition at this time?
No.
Yeah.
I want to make a quick comment. I must admit it.
Yes.
That regarding what we said on the hearing and regarding what said about what the CDP has done. My opinion is that everybody did it. And I think it was successful. And I'm going to, while I'm going to say letter across, but it also seems excellent, good point, and it should be. I want to thank all of you. It wasn't easy for all the community. So I also thank the community for being present and doing what we have to do to preserve our.
Thank you. All right, is there any other either testimony, questions and comments from the committee at this time? Would anybody like to propose? Again, we're going to talk, our next item is about Honolulu, but would anybody like to propose a motion at this time regarding the pump acquisition?
I have a question. So. It's a community problem. Are you guys ever plan on returning that to the?
So the question was if the action committee would be returning.
How intended?
Yeah,
Okay, well, where do you guys stand at? Returning the ancestral lands to the Hawaiian people. Because all of those lands. All have ancestral things on, and they're all still alive, and their heirs are all still alive, and they all pay money. For those lands. And so as a committee in Kaʻū. Right? So now we're America, and everybody knows the story what happened with America. But does Kaʻū want to work with the Hawaiian people to reinstate the people of the land? Because those lands you guys are passing over to nonprofits and supposed to protect the land. And the land's really getting protected, some pieces are being sold on. And hiding revenues, quiet, and always so like. Oh, I've seen hiding hands, it's like. Yeah, these people, you don't want it, I look all of course, they all have parents, they're all still alive. Majority of them are like, I know a lot of the families and they look to, and they're not on this island, but they're on the mountain. But. And you guys work. Because those lands are, there's nothing on it, so you guys are talking about. They might burn, nobody's taking care of it, there's no kuleana on the land, those are kuleana lands, kuleana land. You put the people back on the land, the people are responsible for their land, they cut the grass, they maintain the fields, then the county doesn't have to pay for that. So, I just hope that you guys work that well, putting the Hawaiian people back on the kuleana land, it'll be less, this is a community. That's what I love about Kaʻū. We still can barter. We still can exchange, we can use each other. But that's the kuleana land, is important to see grow your food. They need to put the people back on the land, take care of your kuleana. And everybody in general, if you have a land that's not solely uncomfortable to take care of it, and we're just access, we're all responsible for ourselves and our land and our family, first and foremost. But I'm sort of put that in you guys' thoughts and in your hearts and in your minds. The families are still alive. You got heirs. The magistrate said you don't have heirs. It's the kingdom don't have heirs. We have heirs.
yeah, I mean, I think, obviously there's kuleana lands and other different, challenging situations, I think one, we have a huge and several Department of Hawaiian Homelands areas that we're not putting beneficiaries of those lands. I think many of us probably support all of that, but it's certainly not within the purview of our action committee. But I certainly hear what you're saying, and I agree with much of what you're saying.
So. Hawaiians can only make that clear. That's the only land that we can count. The rest we can't make out. But if in the state and laws, not their rules, laws and rules to be helping everyone we have to put on land. And they're feeling that. That's just it.
Thank you. Alright, so if there's not any other further discussion or testimony, we're gonna move forward with action item number 3, the Kaʻū Community Development Plan, section 7.1, develop and implement plans for Punaluu. Discussion and deliberation regarding the creation of a permitted interaction group that conduct outreach to Punaluu landowners, gather the perspective. On council member Michelle Delimba's Punaluu survey and report those findings back to the action committee. Time is now 6:14 p.m. Business item number 3 is now called to order. Are there any testifiers at this time in the public?
Hey, Jason,
Yes.
could I just make one request? I really
Sure.
want to hear what people in the audience have to say about what all the stuff on the agenda, and I'm having a lot of difficulty hearing the people in the audience, and I just want to remind them to try to speak clearly into the microphone so those of us on Zoom can hear you, because I think it's all very valuable.
Okay, but for our Zoom request, again, if you would like to testify, please join us at the front. Speak clearly into the microphone and state your name for the record. So with that, thank you for that. Is there anyone who would wish to testify at this time regarding the Kaʻū CDP section 7.1 develop and implement plans for Punaluu?
We just wanted to say something.
Or wait, there's nobody from the public? this time?
Question, I have a question,
Yes.
Guy Enriquez. Yeah, and my question is, I would like to hear where this is going before I testify.
Okay.
Are we gonna get some presentation on this and then I can react to it? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna discuss it, so.
Yes, perfect.
Gene, that's allowable, right? Yeah, so, all right, well then.
Thank you.
I will make a motion that we, the action committee considering establishing a permanent interaction group consisting of 3 to 4 members to conduct outreach to Punaluu landowners regarding council member Michelle Galimba's Punaluu survey results and report back to the action. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay.
We just wanted to say something about Michelle.
Well, yeah, so that's what we're gonna talk about. So, Uncle David, would you like to discuss it?
Just wanted to say to Michelle about her survey and stuff. A lot of people in the community may feel like, you know, the voices wasn't heard. But a lot of people don't go online and do this kind of stuff. To get a best survey on Kaʻū district, you gotta involve school homes. There's a lot of people with no voices gonna come up, we're gonna meet there and stuff. I want people to solve, they wanna stay home. So if you wanna get the community input of anything, you go hospital, Michelle. I kind of ask you. So if you can do that again, that's what you guys all wanted for. You guys want to say, oh, community, community voices be more strong. Just go back to redoing it again, and let's see what the plan is going to be. Because this is what the community is doing. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I believe that is what we're proposing, is that members of this committee go house to house and find out what the people that are there feel about what was collected and get their input and make sure their voices are heard. That is the goal of this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so is the outreach, you guys are just looking at Punaluu or pedestrian code?
Yeah.
So like,
So essentially, we need to figure out what we're gonna do and how we would do it. So my motion was to work with the existing landowners. So there's a lot of landowners. There's Black Dental City, there's Hawaiian Homeland, there's also the highway. Hopefully, there's the county local pavilions, hopefully that'll be part of the process and another. The cart before the horse, yeah, it's fishing seats, I believe they're looking at Canadian schools, there's, numerous property owners, guys across the street, from the subdivision across the highway, there's only one. I think the idea is that. So my thought, and when we discussed this the last time, when, council member Galimba had brought her survey, I believe we're in this room, so my thought was that we do this, and work with the community. And in planning, verbiage, it's called a specific plan. So you get the different property owners together. You hold a whole bunch of meetings, obviously, so that we can receive public input. And the community really shapes what they would like to see. So, so I think the idea is that, throughout my lifetime, even before my lifetime, it's always been, somebody buys the property. I know back in the early 2000s, it was 1,000+ units or whatever they wanted to put in. The community's like, well, that's unacceptable, and then they go away and nothing happens. And then, Black Dental LLC, they wanted to do a couple hundred units and do some other things, and the community's like, that's not what we want to see, and then nothing happens. And so I think the idea is, what does the community want to see, some people want the golf course, the tennis courts, used to be a clubhouse, maybe a restaurant or whatever. I mean, things that existed when I was growing up, it was a very active place, and not active necessarily economically, but just active. People went to Honolulu and they didn't necessarily go to the beach. They would play horseshoes, they played tennis, they played golf. There's a lot of recreational opportunities, there's a lot of cultural opportunities. I think we need to, so the Kaʻū Community Development Plan asks that, we include educational opportunities. I know it's generally very dry there, but there's certainly agricultural opportunities. And so, Honolulu is really at the crossroads of a lot of different things. And, I think, again, my motion is just that we create a pig. The interaction group, not a wall. But so I think, the effort is that as a community, we have to start something. And so I think with our permitted interaction group, we could initiate the outreach to the existing landowners. So we could initiate the outreach to the existing landowners and, and work with the community to figure out what would we like to see them. Some people might say, I don't want any buildings, tear down really good 30 days, tear down the second floor. Okay, if we want to see, but what do people think? I mean, personally, I feel like the existing recreational opportunities, it would be nice to have some of this back. I don't think that they have a lot of adverse impacts, a lot of bad things that resulted from people playing tennis or golf. I don't think we need to encourage, chemical pesticides or fertilizers or whatever, mow the grass, let people play golf. So again, this is, my motion is for us to create a permitted interaction group so that we can initiate this outreach process. So.
Yeah, thanks for clarification. And then just to be clear, what is the maximum amount of people we can have on a peak for us?
It's four.
Okay, thank you.
I guess the next question is, anybody on the committee want to be on that?
I don't think
Okay,
I'd like to throw a little twist on that. If we do the pay, we can go only once, come back and report, and that's the end of it. If we do a 2-person committee, we're able to allow it to keep it ongoing. And that's my twist. I would prefer, my suggestion on motion would be to have it not be a pig, but to have it a 2-person meeting. Because it needs to.
Yeah, I think that would be useful because then we can go longer and when we get to that point, we can make a peak and maybe have a.
And then we can.
Basically, there's a bit of that, to have the actual,
We have some.
like a one-time meeting after we collect that.
Yeah, so we need to, maybe find out how we will be contacting these landowners and maybe give them the information that we do have so far, what the results of the surveys were, and see if they're willing to even step forward, help the community out where they can, if they're ready. And then if we wanted to change up or get more information from the community, which I think would naturally come about, that we're able to do that as a 2-person instead.
And then I have one more question because I keep forgetting the process for if we do a 2-person committee, do we need to make a motion to do that?
no, we can just do that.
Right, exactly.
No, we need to.
We don't.
I think so.
Yes, since you already have a motion from the floor for the case, you need to, for discussion purposes, which is helpful. You would need to either withdraw that one and make a new one or vote that one down and then make a new one.
And then you need a second, separate motion to make the 2-person.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to generate discussion, so. Okay, so I withdraw my previous motion, I move that we have 2 members of our committee, to initiate outreach to landowners and other members of the community regarding Councilmember Galimba's survey results. and report findings back to the action committee as soon as possible, I guess. So I think the difference here is if we're, oh, I guess I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. So I think the main difference here is it's limited to two. I know Taylor today, when he said that he wasn't gonna be able to make it, he was interested in being involved, so. I think the limitation in it's only two is they can't like rotate or something. How does that work?
Is there a way I can question something to clarify?
Yeah, well, let me get a response first.
Yes, it should be the same two people, and the main difference I think that Crowley was pointing out was those two can report back to the whole group repeatedly. Whereas if you were working with a permitted interaction group, they can go out and they can stay out and work as long as they want to, but they can only report back once.
I just want to add one thing about not to be mean, but Taylor's not here, so would he be able to, I mean, I think it would be better if somebody that is here to see. And then maybe when we have the fee, if he still wants to participate.
Okay, I mean, he told me that his flight, he'd had a lot of flight issues today, so that's why he's not gonna be.
If you want to go.
But he said he would like me, so I don't know that, it's not up to me, I don't think I choose who's on it. I think we need a vote.
Yeah.
So I guess if he's not here, he can't vote for himself perhaps, but it has to be, it can't be more than two, so I will step away.
Did you want to go to Uncle's question first?
Oh, yeah, Guy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
So my question is, you're doing your pig to have discussions with the landowners down there, is that correct?
Yeah, well, so I just went through the motion for the permanent interaction group, so it would just be two individual committee members, but yeah, so the idea is to conduct outreach to all of the Honolulu landowners, so, you know, yourself included, but also as Uncle David mentioned, you know, for the community, but generally regarding council member Galimba's Honolulu survey results, I think it's a big part of that, so. The reason I keep bringing up her survey is that one of the questions is, what would you like to see happen down there, and so.
Okay, I'd like to respond to that then. Number one, I know like our developer wants to say they are the Punaluu community. Well, they own the largest piece of land down there. There's only 3 Kuleana lands down on the front of the beach. And the rest is owned by Black Sand Beach LLC, except for the property that's across the highway, which is only 12 homes. So if that's all the people you want to get input on,
Yeah.
it's pretty small voice. I think the voice that have been coming out all this time is those I talked about that spoke at the March and April hearings. And it's now we have a survey that pretty much says the same thing, and now we're revisiting again. But if it's just for the small little community down there, there's 3 Kuleana lands. There's the 76 units at there, but mostly nobody, it's all more vacational stuff, and the homes at Punaluu. I don't know
Yeah.
how that's going to make a difference when the real people you need to talk to is the ones that come down every day and use that beach. You know, the ones that took the time to go express themselves willingly and openly and publicly and took 2 days to spend their voice. Nobody's really listening to them. Yeah, we're going to spend time on an anonymous survey.
Yeah, so I think that's what Uncle David's talking about, is that, you know, that's why we would want to involve the community, but I think to your point that, you know, I don't know who responded to Michelle's survey, but I think we also want to make sure that there's rather large property owners that they're just landowners, nobody lives in my understanding on Bishop Estates or the Hawaiian home, I believe it's mostly ranch land. But I think, you know, it's more than just the residents of Honolulu that we're looking to interact with. I think it's really trying a more holistic approach to, really understand the bigger picture beyond just what Black Sands LLC owns. And really try to create something that encompasses all of what, you know, we might consider, you know, or Honolulu, so. Yeah, and it looks like our council person, Michelle Gillen, is here to join us. But
Thanks, I just wanted to respond to, David's comment and just let you know that it wasn't just online, that me and my staff went out to events in the community. We didn't go house by house, because that's a bit much, but, and some people are not particularly comfortable with people coming to their house randomly nowadays, so, and there's some places where I'd be afraid to go to people's houses randomly, to be honest, but we did go to the Christmas parade and we did go to the Kaʻū festival and to the farmers market and just talked to people and got there in person. So it wasn't all. And again, this isn't that the survey isn't meant to be something where, you know, such percentage of people said this and therefore this is the only answer. It's just the beginning of having a community conversation. Because I think that is really the most important thing that we can do is to slowly start to talk to each other. We may have different opinions about it, and we may see different things as the most important, first thing to do, second thing to do, but I think we're gonna go much farther if we talk to each other. And I think that we have to start somewhere, as you said, and I think talking to the landowners is a good first step, and I think it is just a first step. I've been kind of thinking, kind of following the conversations around Honolulu. I think there's a lot of desire for more information, and some of the testifiers pointed out today. It's really complicated down there, or that's how I translate it. It's a mess. It's really complicated. And there's a lot to do, and people don't necessarily know all the information about who the landowners even are. So just even starting with that to get more information on who owns the land and what their interests are, and what their plans might be. And some of them may not even have plans, but obviously they do own the land, so they have responsibilities.
How you go close the door to talk to the community, right?
What was that?
You wouldn't be long by going to this.
You wanted to, you're welcome.
That's not very bad.
Yeah, if you
There's
guys,
a lot of people telling me they have no idea.
yeah, are we?
You know what I'm saying? We gotta get out, like a boat, we don't go to the door, what's hard? The same. So there's a lot of people that don't say, and they have no idea what's going on. No like it.
Well, first it's talking to the landowners.
yeah,
Let the people and have some.
Yeah,
To them.
no.
yeah,
I'm
no,
not talking only the place from Honolulu, talking about the community of Honolulu.
yeah, so again, like Michelle just mentioned, you know, I think this is the first step for us to figure out how, you know, as a community,
It's the right way,
right, you know,
it's the right way.
yeah, so, it's not what I think.
Yeah, probably, it's what they think.
So how as a community can we help, you know, create a vision for, you know, what people would be proud of us, you know? And for some, that might be a lot more than others, for some, that might be a lot less than others. But I think if we come together and try to create something, hopefully we can all be proud of that. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Ellen Lorena, and this is slightly off topic, although I think this is really valuable. So I'm really grateful to hear everything you all saying, because I was looking at survey results today and there were like 273 people who participated in that survey, which I thought was really excellent. And I was happy to see the results and I see that we need to go further. And so I appreciate this information on considering other people who feel like they haven't spoken and haven't been given a voice. I just, as a turtle volunteer, I just wanted to put in a little 2 cents here regarding the Kaʻū. The Hawksbill turtles are highly endangered. We have maybe 23 mothers. And 95% of all Hawaiian hawksbills nest along the Kaʻū coast. And they're very sensitive to light, and so anything that's done in Kaʻū, if there are lights at night, those mothers who are trying to nest on shore can get diverted, confused, can't find their way back to shore, the babies can't find their way to shore. I just wanted to put in a little pitch for the turtles, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I certainly reverberate your comments that. I think a basic photometric study for anything that would be proposed would identify that there would be no ambient or direct light projected towards the beach or specifically the nesting site for the whole layout. I worked on the Onu project back in 8th grade, so I certainly am aware of and passionate about their protection. So but yeah, thank you for bringing this up. I think that, it's important that anything that we do incorporates, protecting all of our native species. We have the Hawaiian bat down there. If you go down by the boat ramp in the evening, right around now, you'll see them pretty much every evening. It's really it's really a majestic place. I'm very fortunate to grow up here and to grow up down there. And I don't think we want it to change. We don't want to see Waikoloa down there, but we want what's down there right now. I don't know that a lot of people would be proud of that. The infrastructure's falling apart. It's really a tinderbox for a wildfire that occurred. The restaurant's been in disrepair for, I don't know, 35 plus years, it seems like. Clubhouse now is in disrepair. Tennis courts, I think, are pretty much absolutely in disrepair. And it's a lot of opportunity for the community. So, what would the community like to see happen there? And how can we work with all of the existing property owners and with the community to create something that would be proud of? And so, the boat ramp, it's a fisherman, it's currently a private boat ramp. I think if we can get that into either public ownership or maybe a nonprofit specifically to take care of the boat ramp, because the county might not be enthralled with the idea of maintaining that boat ramp, we might just want to get rid of it. So and I would hate to see that. It's a very steep, and if you're not from there and you don't know how to use it, it's not exactly the safest boat ramp. But for our community, it's perfect. I think it's like Nimoe. It's the same thing. It's not Oahu Harbor, but it's Kaʻū for certain. So again, I think the real question for us as a committee, if there's not any other testifiers on Zoom or here before us, how do we decide who's on it? So I already said, I as chairperson, I try to not be on these permitted interaction groups. That way we can go out there and enjoy our community and report back accordingly. So I'm willing to work with you. Yeah, it can only be 2, not 3. I don't.
I want to say something,
Is it regarding
that's that person on the street from the street up you know that. And the first thing there is
that's why we need to bring back the outputs so that the water can come up and
Yeah, come in, yeah, you like it, come in, come in.
That's something,
Yeah,
that's.
yeah.
I went to the airport.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
So it's somehow, they like somebody, check that.
So our next item is about the nature conservancy and Shannon will talk about water. But alright, so we need to figure this out, so. I feel bad for David, but he is not here, as I have voiced that he would like to be on.
Oh, yeah, you like.
Yeah, and then he said he would like to be on it, however, it's not really a democratic process. Because only two out of the Peter must have been on.
Benny,
Yeah, come in, here, you want, come in.
Taylor,
Yeah.
Oh, if he's not here, he's able to.
He wanted to be on the permitted
Or
interaction,
guarantee.
so this isn't a permitted interaction.
Yeah. But he's not here.
So maybe we can start with two, and then when we create the permanent interaction group, Taylor can get on that.
I think it's a bit.
It's a matter of,
We're here, it's something.
Gary or you.
You guys wanna like jump in the boards?
Come on, little baby.
You wanna go like birthday, or first?
Oh, okay, yeah, like, how is it so big? Oh, okay.
No, it's you.
So, we're gonna start off with you.
Gary. Alright, then we go door to door.
Yeah, you got it, that look at it. Okay, we're gonna go, you guys wanna go?
Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. You gotta both let each other go.
Yeah.
But.
Right now, we're waiting for his acquisition of.
Correct.
And if we don't get, the county doesn't get that, then.
We still move forward. So we're not caring about the problem.
Yeah, we're not really. Regardless, we have,
This one, we can still do this.
yes.
Did they decide?
It's really.
Did they decide?
Who?
These two.
I think he said, or Gary.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'm.
That's what I heard.
So we need to.
No, you do, it's three, okay?
So you cannot.
When you do, you and David can jump on both, then you can have, is that correct?
Okay, you need to get your stuff on board at the end, that's good.
Yeah.
That was.
I like you guys. Alright, so.
Gary, we need to work with the landlord.
And the community.
We have a motion now, do we have to author a motion on?
Ready?
Oh.
The motion.
Oh, we never vote on the other motion yet.
Okay, so let me alright, so I'll restate my.
So it can be, the members can simply be an amendment to your first motion. So I would suggest you call for a vote on the amendment, which is the identification of the members.
Alright, so I would like to amend my original motion, for Cavani and Open Gary to be the two members conducting this outreach.
Yes.
Alright, all those in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
And then you go back to your original motion and vote on your original motion as it's now been amended.
This probably is fun procedure. Alright, so I will restate my original motion, which is the for two members of our action committee to conduct outreach to Pueblo landowners and the community regarding council member Michelle Galima's Pueblo survey results and report their findings as appropriate back to the action committee. Alright, so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Seeing none opposed, those motions carry. I think we can move on to the next item. So we have from the Nature Conservancy. A brief presentation by our Nature Conservancy representative, Shaylee Crusoe. Crystal, I do that every time, I apologize. So Sharon Crystal, followed by action committee discussion and deliberation regarding the Nature Conservancy's request. For CDP guidance on the protection of Macanao and adjacent lands. So the time is now 6:45 p.m. Business item number 4 is now called to order. Are there any testifiers or any provided sales presentation? All right, seeing none, Jalen, would you like to provide your presentation?
Thank you, Action Committee members, very much for the work that you do, perpetuating the vision that's been put forward by the community and the CDP. My name is Shaylin Kreisel. I work for the Nature Conservancy. I work as the director of the Hawaii Island Forest Program. I've done that since this work at TNC since about 2009. The Nature Conservancy is the working in Kaʻū to protect freshwater and native habitat since 2002. Property that was purchased from Sea Brewer, contiguous to the Kaʻū Forest Reserve, has been managed for the protection of the understory, protection of those native species that have been shown to be the most efficient collectors of freshwater and rainwater that we know of. For the price of the kind of protection that we do, which is basically keeping pigs out of the fenced area at the very top of our watershed, reducing the presence of invasive plant species that fill the forest floor. The dollar per dollar benefit of that fresh water moving down into the stream, in this case Hilea, moving subsurface and then coming up at the shoreline there's no better investment that can be made. We don't have machinery or technology that can do something like that. And so the perpetuation of our forests is absolutely at the forefront of the work and why it is that I'm here tonight. About 1,900 acres came up for sale. We were contacted by the landowner, Wilson Trust II, about a year and a half ago. We've seen that these large parcels of property, they come up once, maybe twice in our lifetimes. In this case, I think twice in history. And this is an opportunity to be able to make a lasting impact on the future for Kaʻū by acquiring this property, protecting this property, keeping it in the same state that it is now, ensuring that forests that are on the mountains of Macanao and Papua remain there, continue to produce that fresh water and move it down into the subsurface flow of Hilea that ends up at our springs that call Lake the Fish Pond and Nino Lake. Continues to do that for generations to come. The imprint that TNC has left on the landscape where we've worked at Kaʻū since 2002 is a single fence that runs about 3.5 miles up the mountain and then comes across for 1 mile at the top of the watershed. If you have a chance to come up, and we've tried to get as many people up this last year, I think that was one of the recommendations from the CDP that I've received, the guidance on how to go about pushing for this effort, ensuring that we have a lot of community outreach to ensure that people are aware that we want to do this for the right reasons. We've been able to get about 1,000 people up this last year, since July 1st to the end of June. Most of those are students. I want to be clear that that's what our initiative is really about, is getting kids up, educating the youth of this district, schools, Mount Leu Elementary School, Pahala, the high school, Volcano School of Arts and Sciences, all the way to Nobody's Charter School, up into the forest, identify what those native plants are, hear those sounds, those scents, come away with some real understanding of just how special the place they come from is and how special they are, because this is theirs. I guess I just want to say that I'm not really asking for something in particular. I've been getting this guidance from you since you formed a interaction group back in July of last year. I thank you for taking that time to come up and to get better familiarized with the work that TNC does in the forest. A couple of things that I did hear over the number of meetings that I've attended, there's a real emphasis here on ensuring that we continue to have public access when this property is acquired. And that is absolutely a goal for this, is to keep that roadway that is known as Cane Hall Road open open for the public community moves between Paula and Nalehu. There's also the access that we've worked since 2008 to maintain that allows for community hunters to get up into the forest, into the area to the east of Kaʻū. And that's into the Kaʻū Forest Reserve, where otherwise there aren't open public roads to get up into that area. Additionally, we've been working with the state and the landowner, the Wilson Trust, to increase and add an easement to the property that is adjacent to Mountain House. Mountain House Road comes up into the forest right above Nalehu. And that is another access that as recently as about 2018, Olson Trust ceded in favor of the state of Hawaii so that that top clean road that would be the road most adjacent to the forest edge runs about 2.5 miles all the way to a gulch that cuts it off. 56 gulch, I think it's called, right above the water flow. And within there's no way of getting across that gulch now, but basically that's access that would allow for public use or community use to get up into the forest where now we really don't have ways of getting there. So I thought that focusing on that access and work to perpetuate, preserve customary access to our forests might be a good reason for me to come tonight. And again, thank you for the time. Thank you for all the effort you put forward to protecting our natural resources, this vision that we laid out in the community development plan. So, thank you.
That's great, that's great. You know, actually, that's what I wanted to hear, somebody involved is all the public access right away, stay right away. So it's very important, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the last time I asked you about all this question, right? Then you got the answer to reconnect, and I really appreciate that. But you want to question me that on the water, you know, going to the outside of the property, are you guys gonna divert that stream? Any other streams that's going away from you guys, that you guys gonna divert to your guys' property? Any kind of water stream, but you guys is so much in the water, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
So I just wanna know, are you guys gonna divert that to your guys' property? Instead of taking 15 out of property, because all I know is not the property.
And no, there's no intention to do any diversion of the water. The goal would be to keep the water right in the stream, the Hilea Gulch where it is now. We are working with ranchers on the property. I'm sorry, work with the rancher now, that leases land from TNC that's on Kaʻū. There are 3 ranches that operate in the Hilea property. And so we want to work with those ranchers to make sure they have water available for their livestock and ensure that agricultural production continues.
So the writers know more about all these ranch because they've been on there for years and years and years, so they'll be less. That's one thing we shall have. Well, I think we shall not get, so she can't hear us. Yeah, I know, but you told me what I wanted to hear about a couple of months ago. Remember, I asked you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I followed up one way from last week of the uncle to the girl that you introduced me to. You guys are.
Yeah, so again, this is a super request, please come up.
Aloha, I like everybody. Then the public way, then you will be able for the community. For me, I just wanna, I'm trying to understand all this trusting, asking over to studies, the lands, and putting it into something and turn to that. And my thing was that trust. When you put in that trust, I'm hoping that trusts are not later on selling us the land, you know what I mean? I wanna know how this works, so if he goes and buys it, or if you guys get it into a trust to protect the land and whatnot. How long do they have the trust? When does the trust end, and so if the trust never ends, and he passes on, and his heirs are good.
Yes, so Shaden wouldn't personally be,
It's so the company is met, but the running this company, right? It's not here, comes down, they still allow us to sell all that.
Well, so we put this property forward for conservation and for funding from the County of Hawaii's POMP program. And what the POMP would do, so in this case, it's not like the situation at Honolulu where the county is interested in owning and then managing the park. In this case, it would be the Nation Conservancy that would be owning the property. But the county will purchase a conservation easement that would strip any development or subdivision rights off of the property. So the property would have to stay at 1,916 acres in perpetuity. Our intention is we've been going through the title search and we're trying to get the names of all lineal descendants from the property, including all landholders, so that we can connect with them and begin the process of developing a vision of management for the property that would be in line with all the lineal descendants from the county.
My mother had all of this, he would actually be seen out the land. Yeah. Yeah. I was, yeah.
Yeah, so talk with Shannon about that, we don't have control or extensive knowledge about that.
But yeah, it's gonna be purchased with pump funds.
So maybe Shannon, it's more complex.
We've the Nation Conservancy, Kaʻū Honolulu, and put forward the nomination for the 1,916 acres area for comp funding. And at the beginning of this month, the commission had gone through a ranking process and they identified Ilia as being a really important place. It very closely meets the goals of the Open Space Natural Resource Conservation Protection Fund. So it's not that we have any, we don't know in the future there's going to be any funding coming to the county. It could be that negotiation doesn't work out, but it is one of the funding sources that we're hoping to draw from. The other one is the Legacy Lands Fund of the state. It's a similar kind of program. They put forward funding from tax revenue and then help nonprofits and other organizations to purchase and protect lands. But part of that is that you sell the development rights. So the goal is that we would be taking this 1,916 acres, removing the risk of it ever being developed. And if it ever is in some other hands, it would have to stay in that the same state that it's in now.
What about Agua? Can we do that?
We would like to move in that direction. If the lineal descendants and current ranch lessees are interested in seeing that happen, that's exactly the direction the Nation Conservancy would be interested in going. It's just that we really do want to leave it open-ended. We're not trying to force anything to come about, other than protecting the forest and ensuring that water continues to flow to the coast. That's it.
All right, are there any other, I guess anybody on the committee have any questions for Shannon?
Jason, there's somebody that has their hand raised on Zoom.
Oh, it looks like is it Draven Apiki? Did I say that correctly?
Aloha everyone, Traven Apiki. Mahalo for your time volunteering on this this committee. I know it's not always easy when especially if community gets heated. Glad to see that this is a call meeting, but in regards to the Nature Conservancy and your what you're looking to do for outreach with lineal and cultural descendants of that area, I would like to be involved with this. I'm one of many Ohana that are from that area, and we can easily connect you into the other Ohana that are from that area as well. I don't know the best way to get you that contact information, but I'm happy to drop my name or drop my contact info into the chat. Kaveni also has my contact info, and then is Auntie Kaʻū there? Yeah, she's also got my contact info, so feel free to grab it from them, but I'd love to take part in that consultation wherever this leads.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Well, sounds like you're a well-known yeah. All right. Okay, well, we don't get to confirm that as down the middle of you. It's 6:59 p.m. So I know we started a few minutes late, and I'd still like to try to end at a reasonable hour to be respectful of everybody's time. Are there? Thank you. Is it Traven? Traven. So thank you, Draven, for your comments. I guess your information has been passed along for Mr. Crysdale. We'll work on that. I apologize, David. All right, so with that, I think part of the Nature Conservancy's effort this evening was to see what, if anything, the action committee would be willing to provide in support of their effort. So would anyone like to provide a motion? Well, would anybody like to provide a motion regarding Nature Conservancy's effort? So I guess to provide some brief background.
Hi.
So this specific area is mentioned in our community action, and so it says expand the local system of preserve, and so secure public trust, fee simple, abiding with priority land that achieves one of several community objectives. So this is certainly on that list. Potential allies, the Nature Conservancy is also on there. And so it says immediate next steps. I think we're beyond that, which is advocating for landowners to work with us. And so I think we're at the point where it says submitting recommendations and nominations to the Public Access, Open Space and Natural Resource Prevention Commission, which is otherwise known as PALC. So would anyone like to provide a motion for us to do so? Well, for us to discuss and so.
No. I'll make the motion that, because they, well, yeah, we'll do this. Yes, I'll make the motion to, move forward with supporting Nature Conservancy, request to, well, their journey for, first, funding.
Okay. And before I ask Lee Campbell with questions, should I get a second?
Second,
Yes.
Yeah, we have a second.
yeah, I seconded.
Okay.
Just to help everybody with the process part of it a little bit. As Shaylin mentioned, the Prompt Commission has already done their work on this.
Oh.
And so the next, and they said, yes, very high priority, this matches extremely closely. And so they basically gave it a very strong thumbs up. The next step in the process is the commission will send their report of recommendations to the mayor's office. And then the mayor's office sends it on to the council. And the council member for the district typically can submit a resolution to the whole council recommending the purchase. And so support at this point, well, support at this point could be a letter to the mayor's office. It could also be a letter to the council when it gets to that point. So there is still the ability for involvement. It's just not at the commission anymore. Well, your motion is still appropriate. It's just any testimony or letter of support that this body would send doesn't go to POMC, it goes to either the mayor's office or to the county council. You didn't say where it was going, so your motion is still okay the way you said it.
And then procedurally, we would have to come back to another meeting to discuss what that would say, or?
No, you have two options in that regard. You could do it that way, is you could have somebody work with the staff to draft a letter and then bring the letter back to the committee to decide if you like it. Or you can just authorize one person, whoever it is, it doesn't matter who, to work with the staff to provide support without bringing it back. So long as you're comfortable as a body that you understand what the letter is gonna say, generally, you don't need to do the wordsmithing today. You could just vote on that and then it doesn't need to come back.
All right, is there any discussion on how we're going to proceed? On that?
Well, I would be willing to work on writing a letter
Okay.
as directed by the action committee and work with staff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if we, because it was on the agenda as an action item, if we don't need to come back specifically to create a new motion to write a letter that I feel that has much support on our committee. Babette, is there anyone who may want to assist her? Yeah, so I think Babette, it sounds like it'd be working towards bringing a letter back at our next meeting, and then at that time, we would have a motion to approve transmittal of the letter to the appropriate body, is that correct?
You can either do it that way and bring it back, or if the body is comfortable that you know what you want the letter to say, it can be something as general as the committee supports the potential purchase by the county using the POMP fund, and you believe it's consistent with the Kaʻū CDP. If you're satisfied with something generic like that and they draft a letter that's in line with that, then you can approve it without bringing it back.
All right, is there any discussion regarding our options available? Yeah, do we need to do motion for good, okay, so, so the motion was by Kaʻū, I don't want to speak for you, but I believe it was to create correspondence to the appropriate body, being either the mayor's office or the county council, in support of the Nature Conservancy's request for Hialeah property remote acquisition. Does that seem pretty close? All right, is there any further discussion? Should we, otherwise we'll vote on this? All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion as I just read, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right, seeing none opposed, the motion carries. We will now move forward to third party reports, government officials. It looks like our council person has something to share with us. Action committee may receive and discuss information from third party reports by any government official not included in the publicly noticed agenda. The action committee may only make decisions on matters originally raised by third party reports from any government official at a later meeting. The agenda for the meeting gives notice of decision making for the matter. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Councilmember, and I have a few updates. I got some email last night about some of the things that we would like to get fixed around the districts. So Pahala says we're gonna start that pool end of August. Yeah, actually that from politicians, I got the end of August, the end of September, but soon, good. Okay, amazing.
Right there.
Okay. We have more. How lights and not lights under design phase. That should be, the design should be done by the end of February. Now laser lights hopefully by the end of 2027 and Pahala lights in 2028. That's how things. Yeah. Then now laser plate for resurface by the end of 2027.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
Now laser play court resurface.
I think it's.
2027.
Pickleball.
The Wildview bathroom design is done, it's up to bid, and construction hopefully starting July 2027. So there you go.
Yay.
I mean, we also need money to do all these things, so we can, yeah, money is, yeah, basically.
No, I gotta write all these down because the candidate's coming up with like, oh, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do that. You already did that, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear this, I think that they'll tell me, Chica! What should be after me, right?
All right, thank you, Councilmember Galimbo, for your report.
Yeah.
All right. Babette, you have any questions?
Well, that, when do you come from?
Right. All right, so moving on, thank you, Councilmember Galimbo, for that, I think, well, I don't want to say it'll excite a lot of people, but it's good to see that things are moving forward, that there is progress, and that we have some sort of timeline, for initiation of these projects. Moving on, proposed business, action committee will discuss potential agenda items for future meetings. Does anybody have any proposed items at this time? Okay.
I'm dying for 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm celebrating the fires and all this.
So, I'm not pretty sure if it's. Notify our presidents. Not like, this is, where.
Give them the dates. I was just writing.
So we do have a vacancy.
There is a
and there is an existing vacancy and,
We have 5 different shots.
you have to be appointed by the mayor and confirm something on the council. Planning staff might be able to, well, actually, I think I will, yeah, if you wait a moment, read where it's available.
Yeah, it is.
So, do we have any, proposed new business at this time? I think, we need to figure out, we had several outstanding items, so I don't know if we can do all of time, so I think, I will work on creating the new agenda, with planning staff, and if members of the public have anything that they believe is an action committee should be aware of, which we're working on, please feel free to contact me. So with that, I think that is. Alright, so if anyone has any additional ideas, please email myself. Vice Chair Andy Kaʻū or the CDP team at cdp@hawaiicounty.gov. Time is now 7:12 p.m. and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, have a good night and please stay safe.
Good night, everybody.